Hi, and welcome back to Misty Mountain Gaming. I'm the D&D wannabe. My name is Rob, and I play Dungeons & Dragons, the world's greatest role-playing game. Although it is my personal favorite, D&D is only one of many tabletop RPGs out there. Role-playing games. Now, even if you've never played Dungeons & Dragons before, or another tabletop role-playing game, you've probably had some experience with a role-playing game of some kind before. Likely a video game, like The Elder Scrolls, Witcher 3, Diablo, Star Wars, The Knights of the Old Republic, or maybe a massive multiplayer online RPG, such as World of Warcraft, ESO, or Final Fantasy XIV. The defining characteristic or hallmark of the genre is your ability to make choices that change or alter the experience of playing the game based upon your unique tastes. How do you want to progress the story? What kind of skills or powers do you want to specialize in? What alliances will you forge? And will you be a force for good or evil? So whether it's D&D, a different RPG system, or a video game, you are role-playing. But what is role-playing? How's it done? Why is it fun? And how can you do it better? In this video, we're going to answer all of those questions and take a look at the concept itself from scratch. Are you ready? Let's begin. Role-playing at its most basic level is just what it sounds like. You're playing a role. You assume the identity of a character other than yourself and portray their actions. But there's more to it than that, isn't there? Actors in cinema aren't role-playing. Neither are performers on Broadway or voiceover artists in cartoons and video games. They're acting. So what's the difference between role-playing and acting? You know, besides the obvious fact that people usually don't get paid millions of dollars to role-play. The difference comes in the creative freedom. Actors rarely get any creative input into the sort of character that they're portraying. Actors are usually cast because they fit an archetype or mold that the character fits. The character defines the actor, not the other way around. Usually, the motivations and the personality of the character are determined well in advance of casting by the writers or the director. But when role-playing, you are actor, writer, and director for your character. You determine how your character responds to any and every situation that they find themselves in. Determining those responses, dictating their actions, is role-playing. Now, some people believe, wrongly, I might add, that role-playing is more than this. They might think that it is speaking in the first person, or affecting your voice, or doing an accent, wearing certain clothes, or wielding certain props. And while role-playing doesn't necessarily exclude any of these behaviors, it certainly doesn't require them. So long as you are making choices for your character, you are role-playing. But making decisions isn't really where the fun comes in. I mean, I make decisions every day. What to eat, what to wear, what to drink. But me making those decisions for myself isn't terribly interesting. Usually. But that's because I am not that interesting, least of all to me. I'm so intimately familiar with Rob and his life that it's second nature to me. Well, technically, I guess it's first nature, but I digress. The point is, making decisions about me in my real life about my real life is dull. But making decisions from the shoes of a fantasy hero in a world of magic and danger and high adventure Now that's exciting. Slipping into the well-worn shoes of Orble Rotbeard, the Circle of Spores druid out to make a name for himself on the Sword Coast as a fantastic hero of modern legend, is fascinating to me. Guiding the adventures of Lieutenant Pillory Briarhill, carving a path through the unknown jungles while spreading the good word and gospel of my nightmare-eating serpent deity, is spellbinding. Choosing whether the destined Dragonborn will side with the Imperial army that almost had him wrongfully executed in Helgen, or will join the Stormcloak Rebellion and return the ancestral homeland of the Nords to them, is incredibly fun. The crazy situations that a character in a role-playing game can find themselves in are so foreign to our own experiences that they are intriguing and enjoyable to explore. And while exploring those fantastic scenarios, I may choose to speak in the first person or the third person. I may choose to narrate my character's actions or describe them in great detail. I may emote and gesticulate, or I may just relax and have a good time with my friends. None of those ways are wrong, and none of them are any better or more effective or more virtuous or praiseworthy than any others. As long as I'm describing what my character does, I'm role-playing. Okay, that said, there is a wrong way to roleplay. Not that doing it is bad, or that anyone who does it is a bad person, just that it stops being role-playing. The entire conceit of role-playing is pretending to be someone else, and when presented with the situations that they are presented with, to make the choices they would make. If you were to enter one of the many role-playing games that we mentioned earlier and are presented with a wide array of options, and at every opportunity you make the choice that you would make if you were placed in that situation, or if you do whatever seems the most hilarious or the most convenient or entertaining at the time, you aren't role-playing. You are still playing, and you'll still be able to participate in the game, and the story will continue, and you and the people around you will still have a good time, but it's not role-playing. It's just playing. And, conversely, there is a way to improve your role-playing. Now, while no style of role-playing is the correct way, I think we can all agree that those who portray their characters in believable, realistic, and consistent ways are tackling something a little more advanced. Role-playing 102, if you will. Have you ever been watching a movie or a TV show and some character in the story does something unusual for them? They do something that could be considered out of character. Think about that scene from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3. You know the one. Now personally, I found this scene hilarious and crazy entertaining, but for the people who actually cared about the character and the franchise and the story that those movies were telling, they hated this scene. I mean, really hated it. And frankly, rightly so, because this scene and the aggression and angst that led up to it were really out of character for old Pete. It was unprecedented. It was bizarre, jarring even. It just rips you out of the narrative. It makes you lose your belief in the realism of the world and its characters, and is often sincerely disappointing. The same thing can happen in any role-playing game, but it's especially glaring in a tabletop role-playing game like Dungeons & Dragons, where the entire game depends upon the group's willing suspension of disbelief. Which is a fancy way of saying that we're all playing pretend here and everybody has to buy in, or the whole thing kind of falls apart. You can prevent this by making an attempt to get to know the character that you are depicting. you'll be able to be a better role player of that character the more that you understand them. Even though they're an entirely imaginary person who doesn't really exist, portraying them in a way that makes sense to yourself and to others will add to the fun of the game. Ask yourself things like why they do what they do, who they are, what they love, what they hate, what they fear. Where do they call home? Who is important to them? What do they want? And what are they willing to do to get it? These are the sorts of things that make us as people tick. And whether or not we devote any conscious thought to it, they inform our actions in our everyday lives. Knowing the answers to these questions for the characters we hope to roleplay can inform their actions as well. Also, people change. I'm hardly the same person that I was 5 years ago, and I'm willing to bet that you aren't either. The events of our lives shape us, whether we like it or not. And it's probable, to the point of certainty, that the extraordinary events that occur over the course of your character's heroic adventure will have an effect on them. Be open to that. Sometimes being malleable is as important as being consistent. That's it, guys. That's the What is Role-Playing video. What's your definition? Is it different from mine? I look forward to reading about it in the comments below. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that I'm on Twitch now. I stream twice a week over at Misty Mountain Streaming for games and conversations and more. So head over there and give me a follow to know when I'm available to hang. Link is down in the description. And if you want to be alerted the next time that a new video is posted here on YouTube, I strongly recommend that you go down here and press that subscribe button and ring that bell. Until next time, friends and adventurers, farewell and Godspeed.